You're listening to Relatable with Stephanie Michelle, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Relatable. I am your host, Stephanie Michelle. You might have noticed my shirt today, and I'm not that dressed up, and the shirt says, like a mother, and I'm totally leaned into the shirt right now. It's just been like really kind of a full week of just scramble and just lots of things kind of moving around both in life and career. And I'm determined and reminded by wearing this shirt that I'm just going to handle it. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to take it like a mother. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. So thought it was appropriate to wear. Still sending out lots of energy, lots of good vibes and prayers to anybody that's dealing with recovering from Hurricane Harvey and Irma. Especially the volunteers, like people that just like go out of their way to kind of help these people. I really appreciate that, because I talked about it in details last week that my family's there, and I just really appreciate people that go out of their way to help each other and connect during times like this. And of course, extra energy to people that are actually dealing with it, with recovery. I got some news that most everybody that I know, friends and family, have power, so it's all good. We're getting there. So you may have remembered last week we talked about what to consider in choosing news sources. What are some of the things that you should know about digital news sources, and what are they doing to kind of suck you in and take your time, and like what information are you giving away on these sites? And today, and of course we talked about suggesting changing things up because it will confuse like how they're kind of capturing the data. And then it also helps you to kind of check what you think you know. If you try to get information from other news sources, you can go, I didn't know that. Or, now I'm thinking about things differently. And it protects the data that's being gathered about you online. So, I really recommend keeping that in mind, changing things up. And today, we're going to focus on where the line is between healthy and unhealthy habits in social media through the lens of a millennial. And I'm going to add some stuff to that too, We're on the same wavelength somehow because we did not talk to each other when we were in black and white, so it's kind of cool. We're there. And before I officially introduce her, I want to read a couple of verses from her poetry book called 7,300 Days, and it's available on Amazon, and of course I'll share the link in the archive. And when you hear what I'm reading, you'll know why she's on the show, because you've heard me talk about these topics before. So just go, obviously a lot of bookmarks, and thanks, Mom, for the egg post-it notes that I didn't really have a use for until I used them to bookmark this book. And they actually coordinate with the colors. Anyhow, so here's a couple passages in here. You can learn from life all the time if you just open your eyes and your mind. The biggest lesson I have learned in my time has been to keep learning with arms and heart wide. Always everything to become inspired. 100% agree. What else did I bookmark? Bookmarked a lot. Here's one. Oh, yeah, love this one. Surface level conversations, compliments on my complexion. I'm allergic to boys who only talk about the form of a woman instead of her mind. The way they love to get behind and possess her. Men know a woman's worth is really her power. Love is not possessive. And the last one that I'm going to read is, ask yourself this: does he, she, they inspire me? Yeah. So I think if you've been watching the show, you know why she's on here with me, because I definitely agree with some of those sentiments, or all of those sentiments, and a lot more in the book. And I'm happy to just know that someone so young is getting these lessons so quickly. So with that being said, I'm going to officially introduce my guest to my left. This is Isabella Mente. She is a 20-year-old writer and USC student, yes. Right? In 2016, she self-published this book, and it's now on Amazon, like I said, 7,300 days. We're going to find out what that is.
Tongue twister.
It is kind of inspired by her life experiences. To date, she's sold over 4,000 copies of the book worldwide and carries out conversations and the inspiration behind the words via her 40,000 plus fans on Instagram. Oh, we're going to talk about that. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too.
That intro just got me so jazzed
Really?
up.
You got goosebumps?
Yeah, that was amazing. And
yeah.
Great shirt.
Thank you.
That's my mantra to myself every single day when I'm just walking in class, because I know I'm about to just dive into class. I'm like, I'm going to handle this like a mother.
Yeah,
I
right?
love that.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not a mother. I mean, I'm a dog mom,
Yeah.
but, you know. But yeah, like wide respect for moms,
Yeah.
right? Big respect.
My mom is my hero,
Yeah.
so I back that.
All right, 100%. Cool.
100%.
I'll tell you where I got it later. Then the next show we do, we can have matching shirts.
Amazing.
So I ask every guest before we get into like just kind of going where we're going to go today, if there's anything that you want to talk about or just kind of clear off because it's kind of distracting you, your mind's on it. Do you want to just put it out there like, hey, this is on my mind before I start asking you some big questions?
Yeah, exactly what you were talking about before we got into the book and everything. Just sending all of my love to everyone who's dealing with this angry climate. It is so heartwarming to see how many people are there to support each other, but it's also so disheartening to see. I can't even look at the images just because a home is where your comfort lies and your family lies. It's so meaningful. It's so significant to so many people out there. So I just hope you find home in each other right now, because that's just the most important thing, I think, to be there for each other.
Yeah.
So just love to everyone.
It's hard to feel our planet in pain, too, you know, like to know.
Yes.
You know, we have earthquakes, we have hurricanes, and then just, seeing the devastation. It's like, wow, our poor planet, she's hurting.
Being here, doing this, I almost bear some guilt because I just feel like everything else is so insignificant when people are just struggling at the lowest tip of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you know, of survival. It's like they don't, water is this, like, we need that for life. And it just, heartbreaking.
But this is important too, you know, when I'll challenge you. It's like, I mean, I think if we felt more connected as a society and we were able to sit down and talk about these issues, then maybe more people would care and we'd stop doing some of the things that are hurting, our planet.
100% agree.
So I made this decision to start doing this show after the election, like right after.
Oh,
I
my
didn't expect that I would be doing this so soon, but I just felt like, look, you know, we have to relate better with each other to take on some of these issues. Like, we're doing a great job of debating everything, but debating's not relating. And if we related more...
Wow. I love that. Debating is not relating. That is so important.
I read something. You had something about debating, too, in one of your... I have a T-shirt coming out that says debating's not relating, so I'll make sure...
I want that.
Yeah,
make
sure you
that
get
in my
one.
life.
All right, well, so tell me, I want to know you're 20 years on this planet, and you wrote this book about poetry, and there's some really good insights in here. I could really connect, and I haven't read everything, but I really could connect with it. I want to know about your life before the book, like just kind of getting maybe before there was the inspiration to kind of use words.
Yeah, very good question. It sounds almost cliche, but I feel like some of the most amazing parts of life are cliche. I feel like I've been writing this book my entire life. Ever since I was little, I've had a journal in my bedside table, and I'll just write down little things here and there, and that's still what I do. And taking writing classes, I'm a creative writing major, so I have to constantly be writing things down. But my life before writing was, I would say, almost empty in a way. Not empty because I've been so fulfilled, and I have the most incredible family that keeps me so grounded and tethered, but when I really found writing and I published this book, I started living my life with purpose. And purpose is my favorite word. I live every single day of my life by that word. What is my purpose of this day? Okay, maybe it's just to make it a point to say hello to that man driving me to school on the bus, or to say thank you to my professor, or, help a classmate out. Maybe that was just my purpose of the day.
Or just get through the day.
Or just get through the day.
Sometimes it's cool.
Exactly.
That's what it is,
Exactly. Which is, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you wake up and you're like, I don't know if I could get through this day. I'm feeling like all too many emotions. But I think I was just a normal teenager in some form. I mean, every teenager has their angst and their, what is this? I'm figuring it all out. But I had a boyfriend, I have my family, you know.
Yeah.
But I was going through, which you discussed, you probably read some of it in the book. My upbringing, yes, I come from a suburban area, but I had a lot of stuff thrown at me at a young age, and I kind of just had to bear down and be like, I'm going to handle this, you know? But at times I didn't feel like I could handle that. So I just decided to turn it into something that I could relate to my peers with.
Yeah, and to me, I could just in some of the passages that I read and what you're sharing right now, there was some turning point where you decided or really felt that words were therapy.
Yes.
Like it became this thing like, hey, this is healing for me to like use words. Like, do you remember like when that?
I'm the exact point.
Okay.
I spent my first semester or my first year of college at UCSB, and that was probably the hardest year of my growth, just because I wasn't put into situations where I felt very comfortable. But I think that when you're uncomfortable, that's how you know you want to find comfort.
Yeah.
And it was that year that I decided to create a blog that was focused solely on mental health, because I noticed so many of my peers were resulting to such destructive habits in college. And it really shook me because my mom raised me to take care of my body. It's a temple, you know? And I just couldn't understand this trend of my youth, like the people around me. I was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
So I just started writing. Yeah. And people would come up to me on campus and they would go, wow, I read that piece you wrote on your blog. That really hit me. And that's when I knew there was something that I was onto something. Yeah. And then I took a trip to Bali that summer after dropping out of UCSB.
That'll do it.
I needed to find myself. Yeah. And it was on that trip where my poetry started being this cathartic experience that when I read it, it was a release, but also when other people read it, it was a release. So it was really connective. Yeah. I'm really, really glad that happened.
Yeah, I am too. And I like the idea of, and I don't want to keep saying you being young, but you being young and understanding how important mental health is, because there's such a stigma about seeing a therapist, or you're broken if you need to do that. It's ridiculous. We don't think about that when we go work our bodies out in a gym. Like we do all kinds of preventative stuff in all other ways, but here.
I completely agree.
And I just, like, I love the idea of you putting out there. There's actually a couple passages that I marked, too, that you're talking about therapy. Or, like, the first time you sat down in front of your therapist, you're like, I don't know. But just being honest about that, I think there's a lot of strength and vulnerability.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. It is so, I think, so amazing when someone can say, you know what, I'm not good right now. Yeah. But I know that. I'm aware of it, and I do need to seek help. Yeah. I remember my first time in therapy, and I was just sitting down across from this woman, and I just thought to myself, okay, I'm just about to tell her everything. I'm going to be honest, too, because I've heard people who lie to their therapists. I'm like, why are you doing it then? Just tell her everything.
I know a couple of them. I know you. Like, a couple of my friends will probably relate to that as well. I know they lie to them.
And once I started being super open with her, I realized how easy it was. She just accepted me, and obviously it's not as normal. You're not going to walk up to a stranger and be like, yeah, you know what? My cat just died. I'm super depressed about it. Like, let's talk about it, or whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, that's not the most extreme version of therapy, but you know what I mean? Yeah, just an example. But yeah, it's really important for, I think, everyone to go to therapy.
I love it for you, especially. Like, you're dealing with so much as a college student. Everything's new. Like, you're kind of passage. You're not quite. You're not a kid anymore. You're not quite an
borderline.
Adult. Yeah, and the idea of like so much peer pressure and judgment, like the judgment that is coming at you, the judgment you're putting on yourself. But as soon as you say something in a vulnerable way, you take all of that back. You take so much power. Like, you know what? You can't say that about me. I already said it about myself. Something that,
I totally agree.
It's so powerful. So just saying it out loud and then having somebody hear it.
Yeah. Sometimes, too, you work through things when you say them out loud in ways you cannot work through them in your mind. That's why I think therapy was so important for me, because I'm I don't know if you're into astrology, but I'm a Libra, and I am constantly overanalyzing myself. I struggle with balance.
I know I can't date Libras. I've dated a lot of Libras in my life, but I'm a Capricorn.
You are?
Yeah,
okay.
And I know that just doesn't work.
It's fickle. We're fickle beings.
Yeah,
we're not as indecisive. We're very indecisive, so.
Yeah, well, you're just weighing things out. It's okay.
Always.
It's okay. So what's interesting, so I really want to try to put some light on the differences between like how I grew up and like coming into social media at my age and you growing up, and it's like it's not even an option. Yeah. Can you talk to me about that? Like, do you remember the first time you got on a network?
Oh, yeah.
What was it? Talk to me about that.
The first social media I ever had was MySpace.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And yeah, my parents were never really advocates for it, but my parents also aren't very strict. I mean, my dad. Yeah. He's, okay, you know what? Find yourself, find your path. If that's not what's up, come talk to me and we'll have an open discussion about it, So
did you have to ask first, or
we had a conversation about it, and I also wasn't like reckless teenager out there to just do weird things. I used it more of a creative outlet. Like, I remember everyone's MySpaces were so designed pretty, and that's why I wanted to do it. I wanted to make it this fun, creative experience. But I just remember it was extremely comparative. And the girls would have kind of similar MySpace pics with the certain poses, like
the duck face.
That was like this. And I do remember that growing up.
How old do you think you were when you got on MySpace?
Maybe 13.
Yeah, that would be my guess. Yeah.
My little sister never had one, so I think that would be because she was 10 when so
by the time she was 13, it wasn't cool anymore.
Exactly. And then there was Facebook, which everyone remembers. And then everyone's mom started getting Facebook. And then Instagram.
And wait, so back up. So that's a thing. So like there was a time your generation got on Facebook, and then all the moms came and you're like, out of here.
Gotta go.
That's not cool. And then where'd you go?
Instagram. Yeah. But I first had Instagram, I used it to edit my photos. And then suddenly people started liking my photos in, I think, it was Germany or something. And I was so confused. I went to my sister, showed her my phone. I was like, do you know why these people are liking my photos? What does this mean? What's a like? Yeah. I was like, is it the same thing as a Facebook like? Yeah. And then Instagram blew up. Yeah. And I didn't really use it for a while. And then I started using it.
And that's kind of why I'm asking about this, because this is... Social media for you has played a significant role in the path to this.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me about that.
Well, I first started vlogging, I think 3 years ago, and it was a blog, but I don't blog anymore just because it's too time demanding for me right now. Maybe I'll pick it up again when I graduate school, but I just started posting things. And I was with my friend who had a lot of followers, and I didn't really understand that. I didn't follow people who were famous.
Do you know how she got them?
She was a vegan blogger, which is huge, And she just saw my Instagram post about mindfulness and about yoga, and just being on the beach and meditating at UCSB, and she asked me out to lunch. So like, okay, let's go to lunch. I love lunch, vegan lunch, so let's go for it. And she invited me to Bali on this first meeting of hanging out with each other. Okay. So while I was in Bali, I was obviously with her and being tagged in all her photos, and people just started coming, just following me, engaging in conversations on my posts, tagging their friends in them, because I was posting like super long captions of my poetry and my writing. Yeah. And obviously being in Bali, people were interested in that because traveling is a huge thing, which I love to do. Yeah. So when I came home from Bali, I had like 15,000 followers and just didn't know what to do with this platform, but started to pursue writing. And
well, you didn't. So you were already pursuing writing. Yeah. And you'd put it out there. Yeah. Like you were putting out little verses, and you made them pretty too, right? You would design them, so it wasn't just like, here's a post and here's the copy of the verse. It was like really beautiful. Yeah.
And I just love photography too, so that was really fun. I look at social media as more of a creative outlet to find each other. I love to use it in different ways sometimes, like very pretty photos, not very pretty photos, but you know what I mean? Like things that are you don't normally see that are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was in Bali, there was trash everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to take a photo of that and share it because come back to climate.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people travel and they always want to focus on the most beautiful aspects of where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something I discussed as well. I was on my path. I'm vegan too, so I just got to put that out there, the vegan card. But I was on my path to veganism at the same time. I was sharing that as well. And everyone wants to know how everyone else is eating. So that was a thing too.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, the transition too. I think that would probably be really interesting to people. It's very topical. You know, people are making these decisions for health reasons or social reasons because they're learning more about where food comes from.
Exactly. So I was just in the middle of all of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Right time, right place, right mind, right?
Serendipity.
Yeah. So you come back from Bali, you get great input on some of the verses and the things that you were writing, and you were trying to figure out now what, because now I have like 15,000 followers. What do I do with them?
What does this mean?
Yeah. So what happened in that time period?
Well, this was a very interesting time of my life. This was when I came back from school, because I knew that school wasn't right for me. The school I was at wasn't right for me. And I just got a job at a cafe, a vegan cafe, and
just gotta clarify that every time we
talk
about
it was so much fun, you guys. Loved it. I know all the people who aren't vegan are be like, of course it's the vegan who puts it in every word, but it is. It's such a big part of my life, and it really shaped who I am.
Yeah.
It still does continue to shape who I am, and I just started writing. I remember this part of my life very, very vividly because my dad came into my room and goes, all you do is sit in your room and write. And it's all I did. I just wanted to write and read and work because I wanted to transfer to USC for creative writing. So it was a time of my life where I handled every day like a mother. You know, I got up, I was like,
you had a goal.
I gotta go.
You had a
it.
purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're getting it done.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I can relate to that.
So
I go inward and into solitary when I want to get something done. Like I want to clear 100%. Out all the distractions. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to implement that plan. And so during that time, it's like nothing else can get through to this right now.
I truly believe that the times when you don't see your friends are the times when you're working the hardest. Because it has been 4 weeks and I haven't seen my best friend. And we usually see each other every other day. We have coffee, we talk. And I've obviously just started school back up. And she calls me, she goes, I know you're busy because I haven't seen you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm living my life with purpose. I got to go for it. But we support each other from far, you know?
Yeah.
Just got to get done.
That's how life is. That's how it should be. So you put these quotes out on social media. You're starting to think, hey, I should do something with this. Like, what was the aha moment? Book.
You know, I've always wanted to write books. Ever since I was 3, I would always, my dad read me a story every single night before bed. And I would look at them, and I would just flip through them, and I thought it was the coolest thing. People could write things and then draw things next to them and share them with each other. That's so cool. You can be in someone else's mind without sitting right next to them. So it was always in the back of my mind, but I never really thought it could become a reality because I didn't have an audience. I didn't have a publisher. I didn't know the nitty-gritty details of it. But I think it was when I started to believe in myself. That was when I realized, okay, you know what? I am going to write a book, and I'm going to share it with my audience. And if one person buys it, that's all that matters to me.
How much, if you had to give a percentage to the belief that you had in yourself and the validation that you were getting through social media, what would be?
Well, it's a really interesting question because I have this conversation a lot, how the negative and the positive of social media kind of have this intertwined relationship. Because at one point, or in one way, you need the validation to know that you're going to make a living off of it. Because being a creative, it's scary. You put your artwork out there, and if no one buys it, you don't eat. And I mean, obviously I'm still young, so my parents are like, you know what, no, we'll buy you your groceries. But and obviously that helps at some point. But I think it was honestly 50-50. I know that's hard to say, even split in your mind, because nothing is perfectly even, but it was the perfect mix between validation and finding love for myself, and they just came together in this really beautiful, organic way. And I really looked at myself, and I thought that I would only publish if it were authentic and honest. And it was scary, too, because that book is everything.
It's pretty vulnerable.
Yeah.
She's got some pretty cute hand drawings with body parts that I'll probably social share out. They're cool. I like them. I like their artwork a lot.
So yeah.
So 50-50. It was kind of like maybe simultaneously like happening. Maybe like it's not even like which one gets the credit.
They
needed
each other.
You were growing and coming into an awareness of yourself, and and that's validation through social media just was supporting that. It was like right time, right place.
That's a beautiful way of putting it.
Okay, good. So I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, you're very eloquently spoken.
We're on this. Okay. So now I just lost my train of thought. Handle it like a mother. What was it? All right, we got there. All right. So, I totally lost it.
Okay.
So validation.
Yes.
Oh, I got it. So,
amazing.
You alluded to the negative and the positive of social media. Can you explain to me what you think those things are? Like what is really the extreme negative and the extreme positive of social media?
I'm going to start with negative and with positive because I like ending with positive.
You got the bad news first and then give people the good news. Yeah, that's good.
Negative, I am a perfection artist with my work. So, and I think a lot of other people are like that too. I don't think that's just subject to me. And that can kind of go onto my physical form as well. Like, oh, perfect. And Instagram is full of perfect people with perfect lives and perfect things and perfect homes and perfect vocations and perfect boyfriends. And being a woman in this society, you're constantly comparing yourself because we are taught from a young age, oh, you lack something. Because capitalism teaches us that. You lack something, you need something.
Yeah.
So I was constantly looking at myself growing up using these forms of social media and saying to myself, oh, I don't have that perfect boyfriend. Oh, I don't have that Tiffany & Co. bracelet or that Gucci bag, or I don't have those things. I'm not the cool girl. I'm not the popular girl. And I think that really wears down on your self-esteem. So, and that's still happening right now. You know, as aware as you can be on social media, you still go on your popular feed and you still see those perfect people. And it's not a judgment thing. Those people are living their lives and they're going through their struggles too.
Do you believe they're perfect though?
No,
okay,
obviously
let's
not.
Be clear.
Perfect in air quotes. You know what I mean? That's how they portray
perfect in
themselves.
in an edited reality.
Exactly. Yeah. And the same thing could go for my social media. Someone could look at me and think, oh my God, you live a perfect life, you've self-published, and I'm just sitting over here like, I'm confused all the time. Like, I look at my book and I'm like, is that what I wanted to make? You know, you're always we're always doubting ourselves in some way or form, I think. So the negative, I would say more or less, is that it constantly calls for comparison. And comparison destroys art, I think, because if I compare myself to 9,000 poets, I'm not going to ever think that I'm good, you know?
Well, and not to mention, you're not going to have the time to get anything done.
Exactly.
You'll never write anything if you're constantly comparing.
But the positive is that it brings us together to have these really important conversations, to share with each other and learn from each other and be inspired by one another. So I think the most important thing with using social media is being aware, and just like you clean your room, clean out your feed. Clean those people out who are negative, who don't post things that empower you. Like, follow people who make you feel valuable and inspired and ready to seize that day.
Yeah. I would add to that. Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah.
Good. Good point. I would add to that, and if you don't know what inspires you and you think that, seeing a bunch of pictures of the Kardashians is like something that you really need, really just like stop before you scroll so quickly through everything. Stop and go, how do I feel right now? Do I feel like, do I have anxiety? Am I going, oh, I need the Gucci bag? Or like, am I starting to get into this funnel of like the things that I need and have to consume to be a happy person? That's actually not really good for you. If you check yourself, you'll know exactly what inspires you. Or the other way to do it is like, when you're scrolling through, you know, are you doing likes or hearts because you feel obligated to, or it really just like lifted you in that moment?
Did it take you somewhere else and really hold your heart there? That's how I like my art to come off.
I agree. I try to keep. I think it's a great thing to clean all your social media accounts, but Instagram especially, because images get into your brain faster than words, and we remember them. They leave an impression. So, you know, if you're scrolling and you just keep seeing something from somebody that just bothers you, like, you know, maybe it's a real friend offline and there's like stuff going on, like, you know, maybe I need to talk to this person, or at one point the person was posting some stuff that was inspiring, but they're not anymore. Like, I would get rid of that. You know? I mean, if they're friends offline, I would talk to them first, obviously. I don't think relationships or people are disposable.
Of course.
So have a conversation. But if it's a celebrity, come on, get rid of that. Like, you know, it's not feeding you in any way.
I think for me too, sometimes I have to check in with myself and think, why is this bothering me? You know, sometimes in that moment I don't have an answer, but if I see an image of something that really triggers me and I don't know why, sometimes I really have to sit with myself and put my phone away after that, because social media is crazy, and just maybe try to seek that answer to solve that problem within my own heart, instead of like, it's like a drug, you know, like going more into it and like being addicted to this thing that's going to just be so self-destructive in the end.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's in those moments are opportunity for growth.
Oh yeah.
So
Lessons.
Totally. So if you approach them like that and go, you know, why is this bothering me? In most cases, if we're going really quick, we're pointing the finger at the other person. We're like, oh, this person's just disgusting, whatever. Well, why, when you point at that person, you have like all of this energy pointing back to you. Why is that triggering something in you?
It's a mirror almost.
Yeah,
sometimes.
like take a look at that. I like to say, identify your role in it.
Yeah.
You know, what is your role in this interaction that's like causing this kind of energy in you? I totally
agree.
Yeah. Is there anything you would never post? And why wouldn't you? Like, what kind of post would you never do?
I would never post something that supports Donald Trump.
Let's just be clear about that.
Sorry, just got to put it out there. And nothing that promotes violence or excessive drug or alcohol use. I just like to stay, I mean, I don't think life is always positive. You can't always be positive. That's just not healthy. You know, you have your ups and downs, but I would never post something that would make someone purposely feel bad about themselves, or to purposely make them compare themselves to me.
Do you think about that every time you post?
Yes.
Like that's one of the lenses that you look through? Am I going to hurt or offend anybody?
Yes.
You're not like most of your peers.
Oh my gosh.
No, you're not.
I'm really empathetic. Like, I have girls message me and they say, oh my gosh, you're so pretty, I want to look like you, or oh my gosh, you're so skinny, I want to be as skinny as you, or, you know, the list goes on. And it makes me feel physically uncomfortable, and it makes me want to delete my Instagram and never go online again, because that's not who I am. I don't use my account to make people feel bad about themselves, because I know what it's like to be on the other end of that, and it feels so terrible. So this is just a message for anyone. Don't say those things to people, because some people like it, but it's really uncomfortable to be in that position. Especially, I am 20 years old, and I'm just figuring it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a lot of pressure. You're like, I don't know. You want to give them the answers. You don't have the answers. Yeah. You've went on your own self-discovery path and know like the word.
That's what I want. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
It's social media is really, it's a job for me. It's not even fun anymore.
Do you feel obligated to post at this point?
I have to. Yeah. I have to, because one, I have to promote my book. I'm self-published. I don't have a marketing team. I don't have someone to pick up my phone and do it for me. And I have to be consistently putting my work out there if I want to go on this path. And I understand the power of the internet. But my favorite thing to do ever is to meet people who follow me and to sit down and do this.
How many times have you met people that follow you?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Really?
I set up meetups. I'll post my location, and everyone will bring like fruits. And
are you ever nervous about this?
No,
like, do you have
never.
friends that are always there that you?
Oh
like,
yeah, of course. It's not like a dangerous
like, it's not
situation.
You and 100 strangers.
Also, 80% of my followers are women. My Instagram tells me that. Yeah. So it's just like a girl situation. We're all just hanging.
Squad.
Yeah.
It's your women's squad.
Yeah. That's my favorite part, is meeting people. and having that face-to-face interaction and hugging and just, you know, giving love, you know, because we all need that, especially in this political climate right now.
I really like that. I didn't know that part about you. I love hearing that you're kind of taking some of those relationships offline and, you know, finding ways to connect to people.
All the time. I try to do it more, but I can't right now. But that's what I want to do in the future. I want to go around and have.
Do you do that on campus? Can you
I don't do it on campus, but I do it. I have one next month. I haven't posted the information about it yet.
Ooh,
but
inside scoop. Right here.
But I'm having a book signing, and I'm inviting, like, the capacity is 100 people, so we'll see if it fills up. But I don't do it on campus just because on campus I don't even know if I have followers on campus, and I don't want to bring my followers to my campus because I feel like they would feel stressed out because my campus is like bikes and skateboards everywhere all the time, and I'm always getting run over. So I do like coffee shops.
She's concerned for her fans and followers' safety. She doesn't want to get them run over by skateboards. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I'm always dodging something.
Since we're talking about social media, I have to ask this question. And you know what? I know you're going to have a good answer, so I'm going to ask it. Have you had to deal with some haters? Like,
oh my God.
And how? So
yes.
Okay.
The year we were talking about, the year that was kind of odd for me, that was the year that I started becoming politically aware. I mean, I was raised, you know my dad, he's from Denmark, and he raised me to always pay attention, you know, and always wants to have conversations with me. But I never really cared for myself, like would pick up the paper or look up news. So I started, and obviously the election was coming up, so I started getting politically.
Did you go to the march?
I started having political opinions, and I started putting that on my page, and some people loved it, and some people...
You put it on your Facebook page?
My Instagram.
Okay, Instagram. All right.
I put it on my Instagram, and some people that I knew that were friends with me stopped talking to me.
Friends that you knew offline or...
Offline.
Okay, good.
Not through Instagram.
Okay.
But through...
School or, you know, local community. Okay.
Just hated it. And it was really hard for me to accept that my opinions weren't valid to some people. And obviously that's obvious, you know? Everyone's opinion is their opinion.
Right.
But to be blocked or screenshotted and then sent around to various group messages, and to be the center of, oh my God, look at this girl, I need to point my finger at her, she's going on this weird path, I don't understand her, where is she going, what is she doing? That was a really, honestly, dark time of my life, because once it started happening, I started feeling like I needed to fight back and explain myself, which is never
not online. Yeah, do you realize that now, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm just me, you know. I'm just chilling now. But at the time, you know, I had to go through that to get to where
Your dad was going through that at the same time.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember.
He was. Because I just didn't understand how people like Donald Trump, you know. But I couldn't, you know, America, we have to have those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's important to kind of reflect on is, you know, just because you or I or anybody else shares an opinion online doesn't mean that it's the only opinion, and therefore nobody else's opinions can be validated.
Of course.
And I definitely saw people lose their minds on social media during, you know, pre-election, post-election, you know, unfriending, still. And, you know, the issue for me was just take it offline. Like, you would not even be saying these words in the way that you're saying it if this was happening offline. But just because someone publicly says this is how I feel doesn't mean it's like your opinions aren't valid either. There's validation in all of it.
Exactly.
But we weren't coming together and relating. We were just debating in the most hateful kind of way.
See, I never took it there. I always, to some degree, feel like I wanted to have open conversations, but I didn't fully grasp what an open conversation was until after the election. And I didn't understand how you need to have empathy and compassion for people no matter what their opinion is, no matter who they are or where they come from. Everyone deserves to be heard. I mean, that's a very blanket statement because there have been things that have happened with recent news, and you're just like, whoa, man, really? You got to do that? Like, that's not cool. But I think also what was really hard was I started talking about sexuality on my Instagram, and how, you know.
During the same time?
Yes.
No, okay.
And it was a very crazy time. I was completely rewriting myself.
Yeah.
And everyone thought that I had a different sexual orientation than what I previously had. And I was like, whoa, why are these people putting these labels on me just because I'm talking about it?
Yeah.
Why am I getting branded and laughed at? And just, I remember I had one person message me and just go, ha ha ha, are you gay now? And I respond, yes.
Person that you knew offline?
Person that I knew from high school.
Okay.
And I just remember looking at my screen in that moment and just responding back, what if I am? Does that really matter? Because it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a way for you to label me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're all the same.
Yeah. And it's getting hot in here.
Yeah.
This is a hot topic.
Sweaty.
Yeah. No, it's so important to have this conversation though, because the sometimes, and I like you understanding and leaning into empathy, but sometimes we have to remember that this whole system now of social media and quick everything, quick consumption, is just set up for these quick judgments. And so I kind of don't really blame the person as much as I blame the system. It's like you're just doing what your brain has now been programmed to do. So and it's you know, there's science out on this now that like every time any notification goes off on your phone, it's like playing the slots and you're like, who is it? Like the person I want to hear from, or is it like
all off?
Yeah, or like somebody like, you know, a teacher mad because I didn't turn in an assignment, or my mom, whatever it is. But you're like this. So yeah, they're all off on mine too. I turned them all off, but I didn't turn them off in time, and I know, and I'll tell you why. And I'm still working back to this. And there's science on this that once you allow that to happen for a certain period of time, your brain actually gets rewired to just respond to chaos and multitasking, to the point that you then self-interrupt every 3 minutes. So I've watched myself and feel myself and still do it right now. And they've been off. My notifications been off for about 2 months now. And I have to tell my friends, like even text is off. I'm like, I'm not responding to text right away. I check my phone enough to like catch stuff, but I don't need to catch it in the moment because I don't need this all the time. I'm busy.
Yeah.
You know, getting stuff done.
I need to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah. So
snaps to that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Do it. I mean, it's a big deal when you turn text off. It's a big deal. So what's happening though? So you start to interrupt yourself like every 3 minutes. So I'm actually catching myself. I'm doing work stuff and I'm changing and moving on, and I'm not even done with this task, and I'm doing something else or taking a call. And I'm like, I'm working through it. I'm meditating. Like I'm aware.
So familiar.
Multitasking. We've always had studies and data on multitasking. How it's not good for you. It creates anxiety in the body. Doesn't make you physically and emotionally available to connect with other human beings because you're kind of like, I'm worried about all this stuff. So we've known that for a long time, and now to have this other layer kind of making it where you can't even operate unless you're operating in it is a whole nother thing.
That's where the business world, is that how you say it? I don't even know what that means.
Whatever you want to call it.
That's where it's going though.
Yeah.
Towards just think about Instagram set up, just how there's all those different pages and how your brain is always in different pages, like sliding through all of them. I feel like that's how people are expected to think now.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel anxious.
Yeah.
But that's an expectation of me.
And you know, because you've traveled and you like to travel, I mean, when you look at the happiness index in other countries, our ability to connect with each other is directly connected to how long we live, how healthy we live, the kinds of illnesses we don't get because we have like this sense of connection. So this system is creating a situation where we just don't know how to do that anymore. We don't do this enough. We don't ask questions of each other, and we make quick judgments. And so going
just
back to what you said, like, I mean, I think, and this is really why I do the show, is just having more awareness around this and empathy and compassion, and just going, look, just check in with what you're doing, because you need people. You might think you don't, you know, but you do. You know, nobody. We weren't born. We were hardwired to connect. We weren't born.
We're a tribe.
We were not born to be isolated. So
well,
it's
if you leave
really
a baby
important.
crying, if you leave a baby crying in a crib, or I forget what the study is. I took this in maybe sophomore year of high school, but the baby will die just from crying, for not being touched. If the baby is just fed, the baby will die, and we need that. Yeah, our heart needs to feel like it's being held when we have these conversations.
To be seen and to be heard.
Yes,
absolutely. So This is a really good conversation. We're going to switch into another gear, but I want to ask, is there anything else that you just want to put out around this topic and what you want people to know, like just to kind of bookend this conversation real well?
I think the tie around the box would definitely be, no matter who you are, no matter what age you are, no matter where you come from, if there's something that you want to do, find a way to do it. I know that there's so much that goes into it. Time, money, resources, family. But I think you make time for the things that you care about. And I think for me, I could have put this book off until I was graduated from school or 30, I don't know, different ages of my life.
Had 5 children.
Yeah, but I really looked at myself and I wanted to be very present in the moment and realize that there was power in the now, and I wanted to do it. So I made time and I made it happen, and I just think that's an extremely important thing to live your life by, is doing it and not putting it off.
Yeah.
As best works for your lifestyle.
Yeah. I would wrap that up. I'd put the glitter on the bow for this and just say, and I'm just really using your words as inspiration, is purpose gives you energy.
Oh, yeah.
So even if it feels like daunting and like, oh, I have this goal and I want to do this, it's like once you have purpose, you will find that you have so much energy, and the things that you put energy towards that like kind of vampire and take things away, like you just don't even have time for that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
You're like, that is just not even on my radar.
Vampires are no good.
No.
Getting rid of all of those.
Vampires are bad in all forms.
They keep you from who you are.
Totally. So it's awesome. I'm definitely going to be sharing in the archives, where people can get the book and, and connect with you and, find you on Instagram. So we'll do all that. 2 more things that we do on this show. Okay. The first one, so I like to show that there's always more information available. And any time how we're relating could change. And the easiest way to illustrate that is just to ask you an off-topic question.
Okay.
And you get to choose, do you want a question from the box or the book?
Let's go with the book.
You go with the book? Okay, so just tell me when to stop.
Okay.
Just random.
Stop.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Do you believe in God? If not, do you think you might... do you think you might nonetheless pray if you were in a life-threatening situation? Ooh.
Wow, we're getting philosophical suddenly. I'm going to say the word God comes with a lot of attachments to it. Have you read the book You Are a Badass?
No.
Oh, great book. You Are a Badass. And she talks about this concept of God. I would say I believe in a metaphysical, spiritual, inner power that's connected to a higher being and each other. I think at some point of humanity we will be able to telepathically communicate in some way or another. I mean, I don't know if I really believe that, but do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like connection-wise and spiritually there's something there. But I don't think I believe in a God attached to a house of religion, just because I don't really believe in the divisive nature of religion. I think that morally, if you're a good person and you take care of your kin and you do unto others the way you want to be done unto, is that the saying? That's the most beautiful thing that you can do for yourself. And I don't need a priest to tell me that. I can tell myself that. I was raised Catholic, so it's just maybe that's why I believe what I believe. Yeah. But you
still have some belief, you just don't believe in religion, is what I'm hearing.
Completely.
Which I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely believe in God, but I don't believe in, it's when people get involved and try to dictate your experience with that spirit. Yeah. That's when it gets a little challenging.
100%.
A little challenging.
And I do pray. Every single night before I go to bed, I say the things I'm thankful for. And I say, I love my mom, I love my dad, I'm thankful for them. I think about my sisters, and I think about one thing that happened in the day that I was grateful for, one thing I wanted to improve. And if I were in a life-threatening situation, I'd probably not think about praying. I'd probably be like, how do I get myself out of this life-threatening position? But I would maybe think about the other side. I don't know. No. I've never been put in a life-threatening position.
Knock on one on that. Yeah. Let's hope that doesn't happen. All right. Well, that was a good answer. Yeah. I like that answer.
Okay.
I think that was good things to think about. All right. Well, so we have one more thing to do on the show. So I like showing that like sharing deep emotion and feelings is not a scary thing. It shouldn't be so scary, and it's actually really empowering. So I ask every guest that comes on the show to share what I call as a heart swell to just someone that they want to give a shout out to, or just say something like, hey, I've really been meaning to say this to you for a long time, and I just want you to like really hear these words, you know? So do you have someone in mind? Or
yes.
It could be someone's. You could have a couple if you want, but.
Okay.
And then just look at the camera and say this person. You can just say their first name. You don't have to like. You say, you know, their full name if you don't want
that
to.
would be a like very intense situation.
Yeah.
I'm going to shout out my big sister. Her name's Alex. And I'm going to say, first, thank you for being so incredibly supportive of me and always being there to talk to me, even when sometimes you need me and I'm not there for you because I am multitasking and thinking of all the things I have to do. I've looked up to you always and forever, and I will continually look up to you because you're so honest and so vulnerable, and you live your truth, and you don't care what anyone thinks. You're always yourself, and it's really inspiring to have you as a big sister to look up to. So thank you for always being there for me, and I love you.
That's awesome. Big sister love
yes.
in the house. I love it. All right, that was a great
so
heart
much
swell.
fun.
Yeah. Well, so like I said, I'm going to share the links where you can get her book, and then also where you can find her on social media, so you can connect with her. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
I've had so much fun.
I think it's great. I usually issue a social challenge of the week, and what I'm feeling, you can add to this.
Okay.
I'm feeling like we should just put out, like, you really leaned into your creative energy and finding that, and that's what's given you fuel and just life. I can feel it and see it in you. Maybe the social challenge is like being brave enough to explore what that might be for you.
Yeah.
And then telling one person, like, hey, I really want to, make crazy socks, like, whatever it is, or you try to write. But I like the idea of like spending a little time and going, I just want to do something creative. It could be it could be anything.
Yeah.
Cooking is creative. Anything that as soon as you come up with it, you start to feel joy and
you
energized.
Forget about everything else, and you're present. In the moment.
Yeah. So that's. Do you like it?
I love that. That's incredible.
Social challenge of the week. Spend some time figuring out what that is and tell at least one person.
Yeah.
Bonus if you tell one friend and one family member.
Or you can direct message me on Instagram
and share it with you. Or share with both of us.
I would love that.
I like that too. I like that even more. So we can talk to you. We don't need to validate you. We just go, right on, person.
We'll send like a little red heart.
Yeah, totally. We'll send hearts. So that will be the social challenge of the week. Next week's guest will be a surprise because part of the scheduling and craziness of my life and why I'm wearing this shirt is that. There's a couple people that it might be, but I'm just going to let it be a surprise right now as we work out some scheduling difficulties. As a reminder, so you'll see the archive of the show on stephaniemichelle.com. And we have a public shared experience coming up at the Relational Center. That's Wednesday, September 27th. I'd love to see people there and meet people that have been listening to the show. Those events are amazing. You will definitely leave with relational energy. Now we're calling it vitamin R because I don't think there is a vitamin R. So get some vitamin relating into you and
beautiful.
Feel good about that. As always, I encourage everybody to just live and relate with more curiosity. See you next week.
Oh my God, that was so fun.
You're listening to Relatable with Stephanie Michelle, only on LA Talk Radio.